Last year, Timothée Chalamet ended my year off with Complete Unknown, which I really enjoyed and I thought was one of my favorite movies of last year. Now, this time around, once again, he decided, hey, Merry Christmas. What is up with that? I honestly am starting to think that maybe Christmas is his month. Maybe that's it. The month of the Chalamet when he'll actually release a movie, because if he keeps this up, maybe that'll be the case. I don't know, but I'll take another one of yours, sir. I will. But I'm just saying, it's kind of awkward that you've now had two movies released around Christmas time. At least it's good.
You think it's that simple? Yeah, I do.
This is my plan!
Marty Supreme is directed by Josh Safdie and written by Ronald, Bronstein, and Josh Safdie. The film stars Timothée Chalamet, Gwyneth Paltrow, Odessa, Kevin O'Leary, Okonma, Abel Ferrara, and Fren Drescher. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. 2 months ago, Josh's brother Benny released his film, The Smashing Machine. While not super revolutionary, it doesn't do anything new for the sports drama genre as a whole. Benny's direction and Johnson's performance lended some good work for the genre. Okay, at the very least, if for nothing else, those two elements did lend a huge helping hand in making sure that that movie was as enjoyable as it could be. But now it is Josh's turn to do the same. Can he do it? Can he, at the very least, meet or better yet surpass his brother with regards to his film and what he wants to set out? Because again, this is a sports drama film, so who knows? Maybe, maybe not. What I do know is that I was looking forward to this and hoping to get a different kind of sports drama than The Smashing Machine and so many others like it. So I was hoping for the best. It looked amazing. The trailers looked incredible, and I had heard really good things about it. By the end, I found this to be an exceptional film that comes with a length. Okay, everything here in this movie is top tier filmmaking, inspiring even, but there is a cost when it comes to that, and it really shows how to captivate an audience. Like, if there is one thing that this movie does, it keeps your attention and never lets go. Unless you are somebody who's really that stuck up and doesn't think this is interesting, you must be crazy, because I'm telling you, I feel like audiences would watch this movie and be like, I was captivated. Through and through, I was interested in what this movie had to say. Before addressing my only complaint with this movie, my one gripe with it, here are the positives. The performances are all excellent. Everyone in the cast, but particularly Timothée Chalamet, are exceptional, keeping the audiences invested with the film. The thing that I can't ignore about this movie is, of course, Timothée Chalamet. I think I and so many other people would argue this is easily his best performance. I think the performance that will stick with him for the rest of his career, because of how much he is so captivating and so enduring. And I know I use that word in a way where it sounds weird, but hear me out when I say this. He is so charming in the way in which he goes about talking with people. And yes, you could say he's a swindler, because, yeah, if you grew up in the streets of New York, of course he is. But there's just something about him and how Chalamet kind of comes off and is able to, like, switch things on a dime. He is so complex and so instinctive that it almost really feels like he is a real person. I bet you could find somebody like this because of how much he is able to just switch from seeming like he's enduring to just being selfish to, oh, he's now caring, to just being a straight up dick. Okay, that is how much Chalamet just was able to infuse so much. And if I'm not mistaken, he had kind of gotten a bit of it from his personal experience in terms of how he wanted to pursue acting in a way in the beginning. And with this, I buy it. And there are times where I sometimes see myself in him, in the sense of I understand wanting to pursue the greatness, although I'm not willing to go as far as how he does it in that way. But I'm just saying I understand the ambition, the feeling that he wants to have. And Chalamet, this is easily the best performance out of him. I think this is possibly one of the best performances of the year, hands down. And yeah, everyone in the cast, like I mentioned, Gwyneth Paltrow, Odessa Ozayan, Kevin O'Leary, Tyler Okonma, everyone in this movie is just so fascinating to watch and so interesting to just play off of Chalamet that it just really honestly elevates this movie even further than it already is. And for a cast to help out your main actor to make it even better is just incredible to see. The direction is phenomenal. Director Josh Safdie is able to make scenes exciting, funny, and connect to see play out, allowing it to flourish with ease. Josh Safdie, of course, being one half of the Safdie brothers, I can kind of see in the movies that he had done with his brother, with Good Times and Uncut Gems, where I feel like he was definitely the huge inspiration. And not to say that Benny is not a filmmaker in his own way. I don't want to make that sort of comparison, nor do I want to downplay what he can do as a director himself. But it seems like the influence from their previous work had a lot of Josh's say, I feel like, or a lot of his sort of way in which he approaches a movie compared to what we would see with Benny in The Smashing Machine. With this feels like a continuation of those previous movies, just now having Josh be the one directing it all. And he is able to do it that feels relatable, but also chaotic and funny. There are a couple of scenes in this movie that I was just laughing at and just perplexed, but in a good way. Like, I was just mesmerized on how much he was able to capture all this through the 1950s lens and seeing this personal growth from this young guy wanting to be a great ping pong player. I mean, there is something to be had with how much he is able to give that sort of vibe and feeling of making it intense, but still knowing when to have breaks of comedic parts and just really great dialogue heavy conversations with characters. There's just something about Josh and how he goes about it that just it clicks, that it just fits right with him, that I couldn't imagine anybody else directing this than him. I think he is amazing at how he was able to handle this entire film and just capture in a way that feels like it just works. The cinematography is striking. Cinematographer Darius Kanji shoots a slick but effective film that's able to keep things engaging, a sense of personal stakes. The way this movie looks and how it flows and how it just comes off as being is incredible. There are some really stunning and really great, almost like snapshot moments that just make this movie so gorgeous, so beautiful. For a movie that is nothing huge in the scope or scale, it makes it feel like it's bigger than what you would expect. Because it is a personal story. But Darius Kunji, he was able to just keep this as lively as it is, as energetic, and as exciting. Because otherwise, this movie could have just looked standard. But he was able to keep things moving, keep things steady, and also just knowing when to ramp up the tension with different angles. That's just how he operates and how he is able to really keep audiences invested in the scenes that happen. Because, yeah, this could come off as just being as casual as it can, but he is able to just deliver on everything that most movies of this caliber wouldn't think they would, but yet it just does so. The writing is stellar. Writers Bronstein and Safdie crafts an electric and punchy script that makes it interesting and funny, becoming one of the best scripts written this year. The conversations that characters have, that the actors just bounce off of each other, are able to kind of feel as realistic as it is. Because, yeah, throughout this movie, people could say, well, it's just a bunch of characters talking over each other or just stumbling on their words or just kind of nervously going along. It's like, no, that's how it should be because that's how people are, how people react, how they feel. And the way in which Bronstein and Safdie were able to deliver on this that feels authentic. Most movies like this kind of tend to downplay or just kind of make up the idea of like, oh, well, this is actually how characters would talk in this sort of scenario, and yet they would fail at it. These guys were able to write a script that feels intuitive, interesting, and really just funny at times because, man, there are a lot of parts of this movie where I was laughing. I legit was not containing myself because there was just a couple of moments that really just struck a chord with me that I was laughing. And that's how well they were able to pull this off in how they keep things interesting and as investing as they can, because you have to care for Marty's story, but yet you have to recognize the problems with it in terms of what he does to go through this journey. And that's really interesting to see a director and a writer just know how to build that tension up, because that's what they're good at. They're able to build the tension in any sort of situation, or at the very least make fun of one. The story is amazing. Following this ambitious young man as he tries to achieve his dream was investing and exciting to see. This becomes a crazy thrill ride from start to finish. From where this movie starts to where it ends, this is just one big what, but in a good way. Because, yeah, Marty, I'm not gonna lie, for as much as people could stop me and tell me, like, yes, there are times where Marty can be enduring and can seem like he doesn't do these things on purpose. That being said, he's not a great guy. He really isn't. Because he does try to swindle people, he tries to hustle people out of money, and to pursue this dream, he is pretty much dragging people along for it. It was able to keep things as interesting and as fun as it is, but yet still also be endearing in a way that makes it exciting. I just don't know what other words to describe it other than just really engaging stuff to see, especially for a ping pong movie. Like, I would have never thought of that, yet somehow Bronstein and Safdie, they were able to do it. The music is solid. Composer Daniel Lapton creates a score that intensifies and livens the atmosphere. Additionally, the licensed music also fits the tone of the film as well. I could say that, yes, there are times where the period piece music works, but they'll add in music that isn't from that period, but it just fits the vibe of it. But yes, Daniel Lapton is able to craft a score that also sets that vibe and tone and style that the Safdie brothers are known for, and I think he is able to really capture and invoke what those previous movies were like and put it into here, and it just fits in well that you never really think to yourself, this is out of place. I feel like this shouldn't be like this, but yet it does. It fits well to where you never question it. You just kind of feel like, man, this sort of fits. This works out as well as it can. The production is incredible. The effort to bring the 50s to life is on display. From the props, sets, and costumes, all the hard work is effective. To take the chance on a movie like this nowadays is very rare, but in A24's case, they could do it, and yet somehow it is all paid off. There's never a moment in this movie where the production looks sloppy or poorly put. I feel like all that time, money, and effort was there. It really shows that Josh Safdie wanted this to be, I guess you could say, authentic, but at the same time, just as effective at getting the point across of what this movie is and how it wants to feel and flow. Yet, there's never a point where it fails. It all succeeds. It all is firing on all cylinders that I just found this to be captivating and really loving the production of this. The editing is seamless. Every cut feels precise and flows well to be consistent. It also allows for good transitions as well. There are moments in this movie where the editing just is continuing to showcase how the story is coming off and how it flows, how it vibes. And yeah, there are sequences in this movie where the editing is just constantly changing and always being different from the other, but still being connective, never feeling like it's messy or chaotic and all over the place. It's able to still feel compact and concrete for what it is. The ping pong sequences are thrilling. Seeing Chalamet show off his skills of playing the game was both impressive and terrific. All of those practices definitely paid off for him, because of course he had to practice for this. And when I watch this movie, he is stellar. He is incredible. Just watching him do these moves that I'm sure a lot of ping pong players can do, but yet watching him do it, I was just blown away because of how much an actor like this was able to thrust himself into playing actual ping pong to make sure that he is there, he is present, that he is pulling off these moves. And yeah, they are incredible to see. They are magnificent, and there's a reason I feel like a lot of people, or maybe even after this movie, could be interested in ping pong, because this movie makes it really interesting. It makes it fascinating to watch this scrawny little New York kid just do all these incredible moves and these incredible hits that are just as engaging and as exciting as they are. Everything is on point, but there's one hiccup that does trip it up a bit. In my eyes, the movie's so perfect, but there was this one part of me that was going back and forth, and ultimately I have to say this is the one aspect that hurts it, so here is my only negative. The pacing and runtime is drawn out. At times, scenes would be dragged out a bit too long than they should, and with a runtime of 2 hours and 30 minutes, it could have been shortened up a bit. I don't think this movie needed to be as long as it is, because honestly, for as much as I was enjoying myself and was investing in it, I do feel like there comes a point where I don't think this needs to be long. I don't think this needs to be 2.5 hours. I think this could have been less than that. I think it could have been 2 hours or maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes, but I don't think this needed to be almost half an hour more. Honestly, I wish that was the only thing that could have been fixed because such a good movie that I was just so hesitant on giving it this negative, but I was going back and I was like, this is the one thing that holds it for me because I just think that it could be shorter. I honestly do, because as much as I'm liking this story, there are parts even in that story where I'm like, this could kind of pick up the pace a bit or kind of end here rather than continuing on with it. With all the talent behind it, Marty Supreme achieves the success of being a sports drama that has more to it. Josh Safdie is able to keep things interesting and substantial to watch. It may be a tad too long, but one that's engaging from start to finish. I've never seen a movie like this that is quite unique in that is long as it is, but still so fascinating. Like, seriously, I just think that this is a movie that is so investing and so interesting that I don't think any movie like this of this caliber could ever match that. But I could be wrong. Maybe another sports drama movie can come along and do that. But for now, I don't know, man. Josh Safdie really knocked it out of the park, and I just don't know if anybody else could do that. I'm going to give Marty Supreme a 9 out of 10. This movie is amazing, a great way to end the year and end on a high note. Because if this had been a low note, man, this would have been sad. This would have been really disappointing. But thankfully, Josh Safdie did not do that. He was able to give us something that was substantial and really achieving what it was setting out to do. And I love it for that. So that is it, you guys. 2025. That is all. I wish I could do more, but we're at this point now. So I will soon have my best and worst of 2025 videos coming to you sometime next month, near the beginning. So look forward to that and other reviews coming soon.